afternoon, Love Train. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing great. How does the video look? We're on my new tripod. Super exciting. Alright, so as you guys know, or if you've been watching my vlogs at all, I am reading this book, Beneath the Surface by John Hargrove, and it is a wonderful book about the killer whales at SeaWorld and what their life is like. Written from a trainer who worked with them for years and years and years. He was promoted to the point where he was like senior trainer, so he was like the highest ranked, you know, the highest level of trainer that you can be at that establishment. And his name is John Hargrove, and this book has been amazing. I'm already like halfway through it. Do you see? Pretty much. But like, I just wanted to like maybe start a book club with this book, and so that maybe some of you who out there want to read it can maybe, you know, get the book either by purchasing it or from a library and maybe like read along with me. I've tried to do book clubs in the past and they haven't been successful because like I don't read on like a regular schedule. So we're not going to be like, this week we'll read chapter 2. You know, it'll be more like, hey, here's a video of like what I've read so far, chapter by chapter, of course. So if you want to join along, like, feel free to do it. Absolutely. Like, part of the reason I want to do this is because I want to spread the word about this story and this situation, because I find it terrible, quite frankly, that animals are kept in captivity, wild animals. You know, I've kind of felt that way ever since I had an experience at a circus when I was 12. And I've never liked going to zoos or aquariums or anything since then. So I've always had like a really just horrible distaste for going to see animals in captivity. And then in 2010, when Dawn Brancheau, is that how you pronounce her name? Was killed by Tilikum at SeaWorld Orlando, I was particularly enraged because it was so senseless, and these animals shouldn't be there in the first place. So like, that stupid stuff should never happen, you know? And then there was a bunch of controversy, you know, should we kill the whale? Should we put it down? And I'm like, listen, these wild animals are just doing their thing, doing what they do, you know? And so, yeah, that's my feeling on animals in captivity. I've seen Blackfish. I loved it. I thought it was extremely eye-opening. I know some people out there are like, Blackfish is full of lies, but that's just not true. It's just like a collection of like actual video footage that happened, you know, like the video cameras don't lie, you know, and I realize that like CGI is a thing and stuff like that, but I mean, come on, look at this video. Do you guys think I use CGI? Do you think this background is real? I mean, like, I think we can all kind of tell the difference, you know. But anyways, so this book has come out as a follow-up. The author, ouchie. The author, John Hargrove, was actually one of the trainers interviewed for the documentary Blackfish, and it caused a huge boycott in SeaWorld's direction, and I'm hoping that this will cause like a second wave of people wanting to boycott that industry. So I'm trying to do my part here. So anyways, without further ado, this is the book, this is the cover. I'm not sure which whale that is there on the cover. I have no idea really. I'm kind of guessing that it's probably Takara, since that's the whale he seems to like favor most of all. But anyways, let's just open up the book here, and first thing we'll do is read what's in the inside leaflet. And this kind of explains a little bit about John Hargrove's background. It says, as a senior orca trainer for SeaWorld's multi-billion-dollar company, John Hargrove has had elite access to some of the most dangerous killer whales in captivity for over 2 decades. He worked with 20 different whales in 2 countries, building intense relationships with these mystical creatures. However, as his understanding of the whales deepened, Hargrove came to doubt that their needs could ever be met in captivity, and after the horrific deaths of 2 trainers by SeaWorld-owned and trained orcas, he was certain that SeaWorld's wildly popular programs were both detrimental to the whales and increasingly dangerous for trainers. Since leaving SeaWorld, Hargrove starred in an award-winning documentary called Blackfish. The enormous success of the film and the advocacy movement in which Hargrove is involved has caused an outcry across the nation. Beneath the Surface explores the dark corners of orca captivity. Hargrove gives a heartbreaking account of the psychological and physical damage caused by captivity and contrasts it with orcas' lives in the wild. His journey is one that humanity has just begun to take towards the realization that the relationship between the human and animal worlds must be radically rethought. Interesting stuff. So you flip a couple pages here, past the contents, and you get to the dedication. He says, "This book is dedicated to all the killer whales that I had the privilege of building relationships with and swimming with for so many years. You gave me everything, but most especially to Takara, who taught me so much and whom I loved the most." And I just thought that was a really neat, cool dedication, you know. It kind of lets you in on like how human these orcas kind of like actually are, you know, like normally we dedicate books to people, not to animals, you know. So yeah, I don't know, that was just my thought when I read that. Then you flip on through to the prologue, and the prologue starts with a very crazy, intriguing story about a situation he had with a whale named Freya. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think I am. Basically, it starts off by saying that Freya was refusing to follow any of the signals I had taught her. So this whale is already showing some signs of some menacing things yet to come. And it goes on to tell about how he was attacked by this whale. First of all, it kind of like details how she kind of brushed herself up against him a couple of times. She kind of like bats him out to the middle of the pool with like her nose and body, and she does that so that he can't like get away. Like she bats him out to like the deepest part of the pool where he can't reach, you know, the sides to get out, you know, and save himself in case she decides to do something, you know. So she forces him into the middle of the pool. She's not taking any of the fish that he has to offer. She's not like taking any of the commands. He goes on to say how like her body had changed. He can tell the difference between like a calm whale and like a really stressed out whale. Like he could tell it in her eyes, her back muscles were tight, and she's just seemed visibly upset. So he's like getting worried. He goes on to say how she kind of brushes her body up against him a couple of times and then kind of positions herself to where her tail is kind of like right here, you know. He says she stopped. Her right fluke was submerged. Fluke is like one of these on their tail. Her right fluke was submerged, but her left fluke stuck out into the air just a foot or two away from my head. Was she going to strike me in the face? If she did, the force and weight could easily break my neck and kill me. And that right there is like what just really got me, because you're reminded, like, as playful and friendly and adorable as these creatures are, like, they're so powerful. They will kill you. And I think that is something that we've made some serious errors about as people, you know, putting these animals in captivity. We forget that, like, they're predators, you know, and that just totally leaves our mind. But anyways, he goes on to say, I knew what was, oh, by the way, she did not swat him in the face, which was a good thing. He goes on to say, I knew it was coming. As calmly as possible, I told the trainer positioned closest to me on land to get ready to call the paramedics. Just then I felt a suction beneath me. Freya had rolled sideways and finally opened her mouth. This whole time she's been coming at him with like a closed mouth. So I think that's in the trainer's mind. That's when like the panic really starts to ensue, when they come at them with like an open mouth, because you see those teeth and it's like, ah. Freya had rolled sideways and finally opened her mouth. The underwater vacuum pulled me down even as she moved towards me. I felt her teeth pressing on my hip bones just over the wetsuit. The entire width of the middle of my body was in her jaws, like a twig in a dog's mouth, one that could snap with just the wrong amount of pressure. And I think that that is just like incredible. Can you imagine something like having you like right here, like in its mouth, like ready to just like chomp down on you? That is so crazy to me. I can't believe it. Let's see, do I have any other notes marked? No, I don't, but I can just tell you the rest. So obviously he survived. There's no spoilers there, or else like he wouldn't be around to write this book. So sorry if you feel as though I have spoiled something for you. But anyways, he gave because they always, whenever they're in the water with the whales, they always have a spotter who is walking around the side so that they can help in like any time of distress. So I guess his spotter gave some kind of like hand signal in the water that was supposed to get the whale to snap out of it and come over to the spotter, you know, and just put her chin up on the side of the pool. So Freya, the whale, responded to that and was able to be called over by the spotter away from John. And then John kind of realized, because you have to be a psychology major and have a degree in psychology before dealing with these whales, is what he goes into explaining in this book. He kind of uses his skills in that area, because I think a normal person's instinct would be like, as soon as the whale swims away, you swim for the edge, you like, you know, swim for your life. But he knew that she wasn't going to be pleased with that. Like, he didn't want to like violate her by being like, okay, now I'm going to go escape. Like, he just felt like he really needed like her permission to leave the center of the pool. So what he did was he told his spotter to give a hand gesture towards him so that the whale would then come back over to him, which I think as like just a regular person would be like terrifying, you know, like after that kind of experience, you don't want the whale coming back over to you. Like, that seems totally counterintuitive, but he wanted to make sure that he like patched things up with this whale, because you got to remember they are like spiritual, emotional beings, you know, and he wanted to make sure everything was okay between him and this whale, that there was no friction with them before he was finally allowed to leave the pool. Or else he was afraid that she would, if he just swam for it, he was afraid that she would turn around, get angry, and pursue him again. Which, now thinking about it, like totally makes sense. You know, so he went ahead and had the whale come back over to him. She was calm by that time, and he had her do a couple of other behaviors, as they call them. I think we would call them like tricks, probably. And from that, he could see that she was over it, that she was like emotionally stable again, and he had her take him to the side of the pool where he could hop out, and then the situation was over. But oh my God, like, that is just so mind-blowing to me. And the truth is, I mean, we all heard about it when Tilikum killed Dawn, you know, and I think to the public, like, that was the first time we'd heard anything about that. So we thought that, like, it appeared to us in the public that like this is an isolated incident, but the truth is these traumatic incidents with the orcas happen a lot. And this book kind of really dives into several of those situations. So yeah, that was just the prologue. I thought it was totally intriguing. I think in the next video, I'm going to kind of take you guys maybe through the first couple of chapters together. So go out, get your copy, and read it along with me. It'll be totally worth the read, I promise. Like, I cannot put this book down. I read like 4 chapters like just this morning. It was crazy. So go out and get your copy of Beneath the Surface and read along with me, because I would love it if you did. That's all I have to say about this book today. If you like these kinds of videos, then subscribe because there are more to come. I also try and put out a video every day as well. I'm not very good at it right now, but I'm like trying. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, you sure can do that. You can always follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Lilhpster. I can also be found on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Snapchat, and Spotify. So go find me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Everybody have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat your fruits and vegetables. Bye-bye. Do you remember that guy that I was talking to you guys about like a couple days ago? That guy that I was like really into, you know, and all of that. You know, we've been hanging out and it's been great. It's been fun. But he's leaving tomorrow and it sucks, but I knew it was coming, so you know, I just try and remember that, you know. And so what I did was I got him a bunch of going away presents which he really liked, and then I got him this card that had basically like all my feelings in it.